Lindsay, when was the first when did the One Hive Hedgey sort of partnership first begin? Was that this summer? It's been quite a while now.
Man, it's been a while. Summer, like around like June, July, maybe July or August.
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
was even June, maybe June, July, something like that.
yeah, a long time. And since then, it's just been this like continual stream of ideas and chats and like as you all are building out these like amazing products and like pushing like some of your concepts forward, like we're also like just exploring. I don't know. I feel like we've just been exploring a lot of big ideas together for a while now. Six
But
months
I've
maybe.
heard about Hedgey like even at the beginning of the year, I think, something like that. So
Yeah.
I was definitely interested immediately about Hedgey because it was not clear to me what are you guys building at that point. But
Yeah.
I managed to join your Telegram, and then I was asking Captain and you, like
Mm.
Alex and you. I was asking there like about options and stuff. And really great that you guys joined One Hive afterwards. Like that's incredible.
Yeah. No, that's a funny way to go. You know, it's funny when we first started out, when you found us, we were trying to build like some type of like options protocol for DeFi, like a decentralized Robinhood, with an early idea.
Yeah, it was
And
very interesting.
it was interesting. But and it's one of those things that like I think it was because we saw like all the chaos around like options markets at the time and like how people get just shut out of them. And we were like, oh well, you know, blockchain can solve this. So we wanted to build that product. But you know, it's interesting, and I think you all go through this a lot as well. Like when you move from an idea to actually building things people want, there's a lot of discovery, and I think like the biggest failures that can come as builders happen when we stop building what people want, but more importantly, just like building with people and focusing too much on like a great idea rather than like having something in the wild. So product has evolved a lot since then. It's not this options product anymore. That doesn't exist at all. Different contracts, different setup. We actually like, you know, we'll get into this, I'm sure, in a bit, but like, you know, our focus now, right, is like this current product, which is the idea of a covered call, but really built for treasuries with like a very specific goal for treasuries and for call buyers. And you know, you can see, I can share some links on the treasury chat later, but you know, you can see that like 95% of most treasuries are in the native token of the treasury. And while that's great, it also means that like the treasury and the assets or the underlying value of those assets is subject to the rapid price swings like we see like literally this week. Where, you know, on a big example, Uniswap had a treasury that was worth $7 billion that now is worth like 2 billion. And if you're not able to at least convert some part of your stable or your treasury to stables in a way that makes sense for everybody, then I think we'll constantly be in these like bear and bull market cycles to where everything is great, everything is terrible, everything is great, everything is terrible. But if you can convert your treasury to some stables, then I think you have at least some kind of, I don't know if it's psychological or what, but you have some kind of runway to where like, you know, you have a runway. And so I think, you know, at a core, what are we trying to do? We're trying to explore like how do DAOs build that runway? You can market sell, do OTC deals. Most DAOs are not in a position to. I think you may have the same problem you originally have. And you can use covered calls. What we're building, the Treasury Pools, they're not the only solution to building stables, but I think they are one of many solutions. I can pause there, or I can continue my ramble. But if anybody has questions, I'm happy to like pause for a second. Good. Wait. Link
Please
if you
continue.
can hear me.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
We got to get
Yeah,
the video
sorry.
on here
It might
sometime.
just
No,
get
but
like
continue.
creaky or something. You know, I want to make sure I'm not
No,
just
no.
going off on a rant. So the idea is, how do we build this like reserve of stables for a DAO treasury? And we know why we want to. There's a lot of different products. How does Treasury Pools fit into that, right? You can hear me okay. So how does Treasury Pools fit in? Treasury Pools take this idea of like the ability to create a covered call, and it applies it specifically for DAOs. When you create a treasury pool, a DAO is taking like its idle tokens in the treasury, and it's using them to basically make this giant pool that people can buy chunks from. Now, in this pool, the DAO is saying, you know, we have, I'm going to use this like broad numbers here, but we have $1 million worth of tokens, and I want to generate like 10% yield on these tokens in the next, 3 months, or 100,000. You do that, and to get that yield, you're giving people an offer, a contract. And what you're saying is that, you can buy a contract, a chunk from this pool, and you'll get exposure to a certain amount of honey tokens, more than you could possibly buy with the amount of money you're going to spend. You buy this contract, it gives you the right to these tokens for a certain period of time, maybe like the next 3 months. For the DAO, it makes sense because you're generating yield on tokens, and you're not market selling tokens. You are giving people the right to buy your tokens at higher prices, but you're avoiding a lot of the problems that come with just like market selling liquidation events, liquidity events. For the buyer, what it does is it lets you get access to a larger position of honey when prices go up. So instead of paying, 200 and what's the current price? Whatever the current price is of honey right now, markets are changing quickly. In order to get exposure to that amount of honey, instead of having to buy the honey outright, you just buy a contract on it. You're not forced to exercise or redeem your contract. You don't have any like liquidation event where you like have any assets to put up. You just have this contract, and if honey makes a big jump up, you can see what you get out of that contract. That's like the simple version for a seller and a buyer of what a treasury pool is. But it takes a really like battle-tested financial instrument and makes it work for DAOs and buyers and community members.
So we got a comment from the audience, Lindsay, and they're asking, can you go through the buyer kind of screen that we got up right now and explain to us kind of what each thing means? And
Yeah,
sort of
totally.
lower insights on it.
I don't see a screen, by the way. Am I missing something?
Oh yeah, if you go on Twitch, I'll send you
I'm
the.
sorry, guys. I'm
That's-
following along on
No
the
worries.
Discord.
No, it's the trouble with
worry,
this stage
I'm
is
gonna-
that you can't share your screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my
So-
bad. Yeah, 1 second. Let me jump through that. That's great.
I have the
I'll tag
the
you
app
in
open.
the OneHive TV.
So, what's that?
What's that?
I just
Oh,
tagged
sorry.
him in OneHive chat there. So if you check the chat, I sent you the link there. You can just open that up and mute the
Yeah.
mute the video so you don't hear yourself twice.
Yeah.
Eureka.
It's just got the app up
And then
here. to
T-Boss,
sort
can
of
you
run
zoom
through.
in a bit because it's kind of hard to.
I know. Let me actually.
see it.
I'm gonna. If we're just gonna do the UI walkthrough, let me make a quick edit here on the OBS piece, and we'll be able to zoom in. I think a bit. You can at least make it bigger.
I
Nice.
think I'm following along here. Cool.
There we go.
Yeah, so we just got the 4 pools up there.
Okay. It's great because I think 2 parts. I want to run through what these mean, how they work, but also a discussion around how these can be adjusted in like times like this, like wild times where like the markets are going like up and down like crazy. I think we have to be like very aware of that right now, right?
Sure.
Okay. So if I'm looking at the pools here, let me pick one real quick. Bottom right, okay? Bottom right, it says Honey XDI. It's a pool with 25, with 20 honey remaining. Does everybody see that? Expires February 25th.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So if we look at this, what does this mean? So the pool size, that's how much honey is in the pool. The amount remaining, that's how much is left. So someone bought a contract on 5 honey from there. Good until is the date that the contract is good until. So like this contract, or if you buy a chunk here, your offer is good until February 25th. If you go to the contract size, click the plus sign right there.
So I'm increasing the.
So you're increasing the amount of honey that you have exposure to on your contract. So for instance, if you want exposure to 2 honey or 3 honey or 4 honey, it updates your price in real time, like how much you pay, and it updates the information on the left as well. So to run through this, the profit above, that's like if honey reaches that price, then your contract is profitable. And then below, there's the 2x, 5x, 10x, which is where you see if you see honey do, certain big jumps. I know there's big jumps, but they help frame like, what happens when tokens make big movements. That's how much money you make from a contract. So in this case, if you buy $60 worth of honey or a contract on this, and honey does a 2x, instead of making the equivalent of $60, which is what you would get if you bought the token, you make $220. If it does a 5x, instead of making $600, you make $1,400. I'm comparing like buying a token versus buying a contract on it.
Mm-hmm.
If it does a 10x, instead of making, I'm bad at all the math here, but you get the ideas.
Got
Cool.
it. So your upside is greater.
That's right. Sorry. So yeah, like on a 10x, instead of making $600, you make $3,500. So it's leverage without liquidation is what covered calls are. You're taking a leveraged position on honey for its positive price increases, but there's no like liquidation event. Like your contract is good, until it expires. And also you can resell your contract, so you're not stuck holding it. Let's say, for instance, honey makes a big jump and you own this, but there's still a lot of time left. You can just go on the market and resell your contract, and somebody else can buy that as well. And there's an article I shared. I don't know if you want me to share it in the y.at TV chat, but I actually go over a lot of this information on our Medium post we put out for honey. We share that as well.
Let's see, here we're gonna go.
Does that make sense to your question, or do you have more questions you want to?
No, it
Anything
does.
else you want to add in there?
I'm gonna get that Medium article up there, though. Yeah. Let's see. There's always great articles on there, even going back to the treasury management stuff from Alex. I really like reading the Hedgey Medium. I always learning stuff because this is not my personal. I don't have a lot of background in this, so I always get educated by reading y'all's posts. Here we go.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I get educated by writing them. Yeah. So look, going back to what are these? There's a couple of things we have to think through here. On these covered calls are just a way for tokens that are just sitting around the treasury to be deployed with the opportunity to generate yield, and also setting like minimum prices that it can be bought at. So going back to like and the vesting earning proposal, it also creates essentially like a price tiering or vesting that tokens have the ability to enter the market in. Which I think is an interesting way to create a strategy for DAO where you can generate like runway capital when these are bought. And if the project is, successful, because you can do these 1 month, 2 month, 3 months out, you can do them a year out. You have the other opportunity of generating, a pre or forecasted diversification from honey to XDAI. And I think that's interesting in an overall treasury management approach. If I go to the buyer side of things, then of course it's just instead of only owning honey or having to buy honey to have that kind of leverage exposure, this is just a way to access a bigger position of honey, or have a right to it. Cool.
Got it. Yes. I'm trying to get it so that folks are on Twitch can actually read a bit of the article while you're talking here. And remember, the goal is diversification still, right?
Yeah, for the DAO, it's diversification. For the community, it's and buyers not in the community, it's a way to just have a increased exposure to the upside of honey. And for a lot of people who aren't in the honey community, we hope it's a way to discover honey as well. Those are two important parts. And going back, this goes into an overall bigger, that's an important section. This goes into a bigger thing of like, why do these exist for DAO? What is their potential? And I think there's a lot of tools we'll be exploring together on treasury diversification. This is just a very unique one that I think is a lot of upside for everyone.
Very cool. I don't know. Let's see here. Trying to manage the OBS side of things. So folks in the audience, do you have any questions for Lindsay in terms of either utilization or anything we've talked about so far as the value? If you have any ideas or questions, feel free to drop them in the Twitch chat or in y.at TV channel on the Discord.
If you want to as well, I'm going to add this in the Twitch. If you want to, I can't on Twitch. If you want to share the actual link to app.hedgey.finance so people can physically like play with these or look at them like in the wild. Yeah. That is where the 4 1Hive Treasury Pools exist.
Okay. All right, let me grab that. And not that one. We are. Give me a second.
Win Lamba. Great question. Who's blazing third, by the way?
Okay, here we go. I got it back now.
David.
That's great.
David DY.
Yeah. If you want to drop the link in the actual Twitch, I was saying, so people could access it. To play around with these. Yeah, so I guess like what we really want to look at with these with 1Hive is an open discussion on them. Like in the Treasury chat, we talk a lot about like the flexibility of these, how we can explore different prices. Like so in this instance, it's the profit app price, so lower profit app price, obviously. The lower it is, the lower it is, or the faster you get to something profitable. We want to explore like what make these appetizing for buyers, like in the community, like what makes it feel like it's a great way to get involved, but also maintain that what keeps it like aligned with the ultimate vision of the DAO. So I think that's a conversation we want to have. I don't know if Treasury chat's the best place or market or whatever, but hey David. Yeah, I think I love that pick. I think we want to have that conversation because these are flexible. These aren't like some we can evolve these over time, and our only goal is to make them successful for the DAO and for the community and contributors.
100%, man. I mean, I think even so there's like two conversations, right? And one is for maybe the swarm level. So say the 1Hive TV project, but then there's the larger question too of the DAO and its common pool and how to sort of leverage these different tools. I know the current context is kind of hard to like. Good Monday morning, everybody. I hope we have a nice pump. But like, it's like this once things level off a little bit, that's where I feel like, at least it'll be clearer to see the way forward in terms of how to price them out and proceed. Are there any thoughts, like in a time of high volatility like this, and you're somebody here that's listening on Twitch, say, and you've just maybe come across One Hive and Honey for the first time, like how would you encourage somebody like that to think about these pools, or to buying them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a trader by by default by any means, but what I think with these pools is obviously everyone in the One Hive community has some connection with Honey token, owning those amount of tokens, and that's like I think the core that we all like psychologically feel like we're involved with the community when we have those tokens. This is a tool in addition to that, so. This is beyond just owning tokens. This is something that lets you have exposure when you think things are going to go up and to the right, which I think, crypto does more than anything. And so that's what a covered call is. It's just like when you think something's going to go up and to the right, this just compounds your, through the nature of the leverage of these compounds, like the returns you get. But unlike owning the tokens, you can also have a contract go to zero if it expires and it doesn't hit that price. So that's important to know, right? Like, right. You should not just own covered calls of a project you're feverish on. It should be something that complements what you already have.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Is there just a new way or a deeper way to get involved?
Well, it's true, isn't it true, David? We're all not traders. we're traders when it goes up. We're traders when it goes up and to the right.
I just want to, right, like on a day like today, I just want to state that I'm a long-term holder. In it for the long run.
You're in it for the technology at this point, guys.
I literally tweeted this morning. Yeah, I said, if you're in it for the tech, join us this morning. Start your week off right. Yeah.
In it for the tech.
Although small shill, Cosmos is doing not too bad. Just saying.
Cosmos
is pumping.
Sure.
I'll say this. Like I started my first project in 2017, 2018 with Alex, and we were basically born in a bear market and just lived for years in a bear market. And like I think it's really hard when you've been in a bull market for so long, because like we can't help but like think of price and calibrate that with like validity of what we're doing. If there's a token attached to what we're doing, but like bear markets are like genuinely when like if you have a strong like intrinsically motivated community like One Hive, that like you genuinely build like the coolest stuff. Which is why, again, I think going back to Treasury, you just have to make sure you can like last through a bear market. Because like it is genuinely when I think you have the most fun, because you're not like obsessed over what your price is doing, because you just know it's terrible, and you're just focused on like building things. And I know it's a weird thing to say, and maybe it's too soon for the space as a whole to say we're not going to just bounce back from this. But I don't know. Looking back, I mean, I feel like some of the best ideas and times I had were when I just didn't even look at my portfolio for like a year. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on where we are.
I feel that. Your priorities become clearer. Like it focuses the mind, I imagine.
Yeah.
I
guess, yeah. Maybe I'm just stupid and I forgot how much it sucked.
This too.
I don't know.
I'm actually going to try to put up on the screen something here for people to understand the thing better while we're chatting away here. So if you're on the chat here, I tried to put the definitions as well as like the tile from the UI. So if you're interested in going over and using it, hopefully this helps while we're chatting about the market.
Yeah, right. Also, like, I think for us, one thing we really want to know is like where people need resources and feedback and what doesn't make sense. And like, if there's something and you see it and you're like, that, why would I do that? Or this is healing, or whatever thoughts go into people's heads, like those are things we actively pursue. We're by no means a, like show the world your app and please tell me it looks pretty kind of company. Like I really like do strive to see where people break down or what isn't clear, or just like what doesn't like have value. You know what I mean? Like I could make a million different financial products, and all of them, but one would probably be shit. So I think discovering like, what people are enticed to participate in is important for us.
Mm-hmm.
So please openly share that feedback. Tag me on maybe one of the y.at pages.
Got a quick question for you, Lindsay, on chat. It's
Yeah.
again from David, and he says, "Is payment only in XDAI?"
Yeah, payment only XI. So for these pools, these are Honey XI pools, and so the payment is an XI. They are flexible to change the payment currency. We can change it to some other token, but you have to consider a couple of things. It's interesting with these because what you're doing is, this is very complicated. It makes my head hurt. When you create a pair that is like a stable coin, you're saying that you think, I'm just going to say, what's the price of stake right now? Right. So if you said, just for weird example, like stake honey pair, you would be saying your payment currency would be stake tokens, and you would profit based on how much honey moves in opposition of stake. That makes sense. So like if honey does a 2x against stake, then you would make money. So stable coins are a lot simpler is what I'm saying, I guess, since most of the market moves in unison,
Mm-hmm.
Unless, you had Cosmos today, in which you would have flown opposite direction against every other token. Does that make sense, by the way?
Yeah. It makes sense. It has to
If
do
you
with the
have
pairing, right?
if you have yeah, it's how much the two tokens move away from, how much your token moves away from the base pair is what we call it. If you have an idea there or something to be interested in, where you think HoneySwap would be interested in, we're all ears to hearing ideas. And also the other ideas here, I'll just put these out there for as well. There's things you can do, like you can make these strike prices much lower. You can make them shorter. You can make these last for a week. One kind of like weird, or not weird, but like you actually see it quite often, approach is making something that's like, let me see, if honey is at 207 right now, and it's had a big jump, you could make these cost much more, but have like a profit above price that's at like $230. It's more likely that would happen, that the honey would move above that price, and you could have them good for a week. So I don't know what people want, the community wants, what the treasury wants, but I'm open to all the thoughts of what people are interested in. Like if kind of like shorter, lower prices that these kind of are profitable at, but more expensive. I don't know. We could pursue that if you guys want to. That's obviously a DAO decision.
Give me 1 sec here, Lindsay. I'm going to try to pull this up. You want to walk people through how to create a pool briefly? I mean, Dash and Solar, you guys have any questions, obviously hop in here. I'm going to try to get this part of the UI up here so people can see it real quick, though. Give me 1 second.
Please do.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. So this should be good.
No,
So-
I got no questions.
So
I'm learning. I'm learning too as we go.
So saying people
Oh,
can
yeah.
come and buy, right? Now, I don't have a wallet connected here I'm trying to figure out the OPSEC as best I can. But you can go to create a pool. Oh, you have to connect a wallet to do that. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is, give me a second. I need to change. I thought that was going to work. See, I was wrong.
PC or MetaMask.
Yeah.
You want to share
Let's
your
see.
screen, Tigos?
Yeah. I just need to like get
If you want to just send me your seed phrase, I can do it on my end.
0.3 BTC. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna change the share screen.
The 16-word one? Is it that one that starts with trials, fusion, quick, tree, LED, keyboard? Is it these ones?
That's the one, actually. Keep going.
Okay. Sound, brave, block.
That's funny. I used to, as a joke at our last project, send out like monthly updates. And I would always throw in like hidden like wallets. And one time I hid just a private key to a wallet that had like a ton of tokens in it. And I didn't think about this ahead of time, but like everybody got at the same time and tried to claim the tokens from this wallet, but I didn't have any gas in it, just because I don't think that far ahead sometimes. And it's sort of like our community, like fighting each other to get these tokens out before, with like, yeah, it's chaos, but it's beautiful. Okay.
There we go.
I
think.
If we're looking at this is you click create pool, and this is the modal for create pool, and you'll have to scroll on this to see the whole thing.
Yeah, let me get that.
But no worries.
Yeah, I need to change our background to a little more space for these share screen deals, but
That's
I think
perfect.
that's the whole
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
So if you are, if you're a DAO, or if you just have like a large position of tokens, anybody can actually do this. So you can come on here and you can say, I want to earn yield on, and you can fill this out if you'd like. You can just put a 1 and start adding a bunch of zeros to it if you'd like.
Okay, let's do that. So if we want to earn yield on, let's do honey and see, right? So do 1 honey.
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Do 1, but start adding some zeros to it, like just for sake of size.
Mm-hmm.
No, not there. I'm sorry. I want to add yield on and just start putting like 1 0 0 0. I want to get a bigger number to start, and then we'll go down small.
Got it. Start at 100. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we want to see a front yield of, what's a good number here?
Yeah. Let me see this real quick. I'm going to screenshot that because maybe it's because you haven't approved it yet. It doesn't actually show you the percentage defaulted.
Oh, I see.
Your honey down there.
I see. There we go.
But it's good feedback, actually. So the rate we go with, you're actually not seeing the USD when they come onto this. Maybe that's like a early bug you see or something. But what you should see is it defaults to 10% of whatever you are putting in.
Okay. Yeah, this is sort of a dummy wallet, so
Don't worry about it. But just to frame it, so 10% is the upfront yield amount we go for. So if you put up 21,000, you could get 2,100 is what we go for.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And I apologize because when most people use this, and if not, we'll fix that today. It defaults a lot of this information to just like a boilerplate amount. So you don't have to think of all this by yourself. So to earn this, you could say buyers have the right to purchase my tokens at this price in the future. You can set it to like 250.
Mm-hmm.
250 XI per honey, which is like, it's a big bounce, but it's not insane. Minimum chunk people can buy is, whatever, 1 honey or 0.5 honey or 0.1 honey, whatever you want.
Okay. So this is, got it. Let's go to 0.25 honey. Cool.
Now, the things you can do here to change this up, like you could say, I don't want this to go till February, so you can make this go till like next week, for instance, if you want to change that.
Got it.
And then the other thing you can, February 4th, whatever. The other thing you can do is, let's say you don't want 10% yield on this because it's such a low strike price. You can make this go up to, I want, whatever, 5,000, 7,000, upfront yield of 7,000 XI.
I got it. Okay.
So your second bottom. So you define these. So you say, I want, I'm going to put up 100 honey, which is around $20,000. If people want to buy these contracts and they buy all my contracts I'll make an extra $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, if they buy these contracts, what you're doing is you're giving them the right to purchase your honey at $250. So, if it's 220, then they're buying it above market value. If it goes to 260 or 70 or 300 or 400, before February 4th, they can still access your honey at $250.
Right.
And that's where the win-win comes in, because for DAOs, they're not trying to like scalp premiums on the tokens they bought, right? Because token, the cost basis is $0. For them, they're just trying to not like market sell and maybe stagger like the prices that this could potentially enter the market at higher prices.
This is a really important
but
part.
For a buyer,
that's a super important point, though. I just kind of want to actually, because this is, I just think in terms of mechanisms, this is like really, really cool. In other words, this is so you could technically, anybody could create this, but the assumption is that the creator is either a swarm or the DAO itself, right? That's essentially the honey. So people, that's really cool. I like that a lot, and I don't know, again, Dash and Solar, if you have any thoughts on that specifically, but I know we also have, I believe, and well, he was in the audience, maybe we'll share a little bit later, but I think that Will Griff might be someone that would enjoy hearing a little bit about this as well. Yeah.
We're chatting about Will's proposal, because he mentions like the vesting. And this is, I think, one of the goals. I had some comments there. One of the goals, it seems like, or one of the patterns I see in that proposal is wanting to control how honey is liquid markets, right? Whether it's time through vesting or price, in this case, through setting a minimum price that it can be bought for. And those are two interesting ways to control the flow of honey into the marketplace, because with this, you can create a strategy to where you can say, we'll have like these tranches where it enters at 250, at 260, at 280, at 400, at whatever. And you can just map that out and, just create and let it ride. I think that's an interesting thing for DAO to be able to do while generating revenue on it today.
Great.
So that's my thoughts on that. So anyways, this is, if you're a DAO, you're taking a more conservative strategy, maybe not, I don't know. But anyone can do this, because what this does is basically lets you say, like if you have a price you're willing to sell a token at, you can say like, look, I'll let someone buy these tokens from me at this price, or at least have the right to buy them. It doesn't force it. But what you can calculate there is you can calculate the amount of money you'll get if they buy it, plus the additional amount of yield you get when they actually buy the contracts. So it's selling in this case at 250 plus the $7,000, which is more than just selling at $250.
I think that this type of thing, frankly, I think that almost framing a plan using Hedgey Treasury Pools, could really be included into even a sort of funding proposal, and not just for One Hive. I think that, this is I'm still absorbing. I have to think. I'm learning as I'm just talking to you and listening to you, man. Yeah.
No, I
It would
as
be
well. I mean, sorry.
it would be super cool if like you could create like a pool like what T-Will has on the screen right now, but it doesn't go active until it gets funded. And the way you fund it is you create a proposal on, say, like Art Gardens front end there, and the address is the actual contract. And as soon as that money lands in the contract, it becomes active. That could be something. I know that it's not as easy as said, but that way you could integrate, DAOs, voting, and like it almost being as
Like
trustless as we can get it.
you narrow that bridge to where it's as little hands-on as you could do, right? Automating. I think that I mean that's the ultimate goal with the product is really be able to dive or put it deeper and deeper into the actual flow of a DAO.
Yeah.
So I mean I definitely want to be exploring that for sure. I think the things we need to discover and think through before then are what that balance is between DAO gets, how it gets value from it, whether it's like creating like tranches when honey can enter the market with just like, idle honey. Maybe there's a ton of honey that like you're like, this is sitting in the vault, but like we would absolutely let this enter the market at, whatever, $700 in the next 2 years. And we're not going to touch it before then. That's essentially just like a vault that people can start buying access to.
Oh man.
There's a lot of interesting things you can do.
So basically,
I wish Paul was
Lindsay,
here.
like the yield is actually those are the fees that people are paying when buying the option, right?
That's absolutely right. So when you're looking at the upfront yield, what we do is we back into the fees section to where the fees you see when you're buying basically are split, $7,000 across exposure to 100 honey. So in this case, you would be paying, you back into it.
Yeah. That's very cool. I really like because it basically when you are buying it, like maybe you're not sure if you want to buy the token for like how investors are looking there. They're buying the option for cheaper, right? And if they get that option, like if the price went higher than that, they usually then they are using the option to buy cheaper in a way.
No, that's absolutely right. It's not just for like selling and profiting. For a lot of people, it is like it's a way to have the right to get those tokens at a price. And I mean, there's a lot of ways people can use it, but you're basically just saying like, I want to have the right to these tokens at this price for the next whatever, right?
Yeah, it's like a limit call in a way.
That's right. One that the DAO, one that puts skin in the game, to where the DAO, if you want that right, you're going to pay for it. And once you have it, it can't be canceled on you. So I think it's like a way to, in my opinion, I think it's an interesting way to align like long-term incentives.
Yep.
Because if somebody has a 4-year, I mean, this is crazy, like opposite spectrum, right? Like this is a 1 week, you'd pay $70 and you would have exposure to honey at 250. So if honey makes a big jump, you're going to just make out like a bandit. But you could map this out. I mean, we don't have it on our UI, but you can map these for 4 years and say, you know what, I want exposure to honey at $800 in the next 4 years.
Yep.
And that would not be as cheap, or not be cheap, but like that's just a way to where you can just like lock that in and not have to worry what happens next, the volatility short term.
And in the meantime, though, you can actually sell it as well, right? If you do hit that strike price, you can't sell it like before that end of expiry.
Oh yeah, you can. If you hit the strike price, you can always redeem it and sell it. Yeah, Alex says buy it, because that's the appropriate thing. My brain doesn't work like that though. My brain doesn't work in that way. But you can also resell the actual contract to somebody else as well.
Yeah.
So if somebody else, let's say all these are gone and a year goes by or 2 years go by and like it becomes like honey's at like $900, you have that contract for $800, you could buy it at. It's already good, but you also have like 2 years of runway on it, so it would be more valuable to sell the contract to somebody else than to actually redeem it in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you still have 2 years where you can get exposure.
That's awesome. So the best thing for the DAO, in my opinion, is like it's making stable coins, but without dumping the price of the token in a way. Like if the DAO needs stable coins, it can do it by using these options, which is pretty cool.
I mean, I think in the vesting proposal, the cool thing is that you guys talk about vesting periods, using time to control the flow of honey in the markets, right? These do this in some way, but the real mechanism is price to control the flow of honey in the market. You may say in this case, you have honey entering it at $500. You'll say, look, we're going to put this tranche of 100 honey, and at $500, like this can potentially enter the market. And we'll be fine with that because you're able to control that rather than just market selling. It's like as things move up and down and you have a million managing, a way to forecast, I guess. I think that's the interesting part, is that it does line up with that.
Yeah, for sure.
It provides a way for people to sort of buy in and support. I mean, it depends how you frame it too. Like if what you're saying, Dosh, earlier, if you can take even a portion of, a proposal that comes to Gardens, whatever, a certain portion of it that is automated to be sent to create a pool like this, and you can sort of, package that as a part of the way that the community can also participate in supporting what you're doing, right? Sort of buying in on some of that is, I think it can have a really interesting, really serious value add for a real community DAO, right? Where you have people who are actively involved in following all of that stuff. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please. I talked too much.
I was going to say that it would be really cool because proposals do fund like wallets, and that's like a fairly decentralized process the way like our voting works. So it would be sweet if you could essentially create pools. You could create like a forum post or whatever explaining why you're creating these pools, and then you have a proposal up with the address of the pool that's already, or essentially like the strategy is already created, and then you fund that pool with the amount of honey required.
Alex, you hear that idea? Basically, the way of creating. Sorry, I'm just reading because I just want to make sure it's fresh. Being able to create a pool, a proposal for it, and essentially vote on it, because when they pass proposals, the idea.
Essentially, you create the pool without it being live, without the funding, right? So you have it live, but it just doesn't have funding. As soon as it gets funding, it goes live, and people can buy those options.
Right. You would just have like the parameter set. That's interesting. Yeah. I know Alex will think through that for the next like 4 hours until that's really cool. That's a really cool idea. I'm interested in things like that, like things that can make these more integrated seamlessly into like the actual desired flow. And then the other part is just like how they can be integrated for the long-term vision of the DAO, whether it means the short-term selling options at more yield for the DAO, but a lower strike price for the buyer. So maybe those are like more in demand versus something that's like just kind of conservative or neutral, I guess, like this, versus something that is more conservative, but also like a 4-year option that's like way out of the money. That means if you buy it, like you're in for the long haul.
Yeah, I think we need to fold Paul into this too. Paul does a lot of thinking on this stuff. Sure. I know he's a part of the conversation. I think he's busy this morning, but I think we need to have another convo with all of us and maybe get Paul on here to hear his thoughts too, because he's looked into a bunch of different ways to sort of test ideas with the One Hive TV, project that then we could, if it works and if it goes well, then we can, take it to maybe the DAO level if you're trying to talk about these larger, almost vested type things. Yeah.
Well, I know we're getting out of here soon, but I do want to think where we can continue the discussion, because I genuinely love to just like chat through a lot of these ideas like ongoing with people. So if there's a place where we can chat about it, and then just having like a way, we've always built collaboratively with you all with the things we're doing. So way to like continue that process. I'd love to back on.
Well, I don't know what Solar and Dosh, what you guys think. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. I think that when we look at a number of other DAOs, whether it's Shapeshift or elsewhere, they have a dedicated team that really talks things and then actually has a allotment of the treasury to work with as far as how to carry out these types of things. I don't know. I don't know if One Hive doesn't have a more formal treasury sort of management swarm, or if that is something that's worth just firming up with the idea. Because the other part, I guess, this is connected to, and this is sort of my last thing on my mind right now. But it's like this is not everybody is comfortable or is educated or interested in putting in the time to figure out how all this works. So I'm saying if there's, maybe there's a need to have an elected committee of people within One Hive to sort of have like a real goal of nailing down a quantity and executing on it at a larger scale. But I don't know what y'all's thoughts about that. Obviously, this is something for an ongoing conversation.
I also think the same, Theo. So like if we manage to grow this into something bigger, right now, me, Dash, Lindsay, and I think Paul, we have like a multi-sig for this, but I seriously think that we should consider to make something bigger, like even a group of One Hive that will work with treasuries and yields and some kind of investments, even like in future that will work on diversifying the One Hive assets. Like that would make sense for sure. But this is just like we are still at the beginning here. I feel like making this happen.
I totally agree with that. I think we're just at the beginning of like what is possible with all of this. Not just like this tool, but just like exploring different ways this tool can be used, but also like other tools and what it means to diversify a treasury. I think pushing on that's going to be fun over the coming few months.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that we can discuss about that for sure.
I think for vesting, vested like payments to like essentially you can have these contracts written for the like long-term plan, like you were saying earlier, and then you can have the treasury buy these contracts themselves and then give these options to certain groups or members or whatever, and then that could be a part of a form of payment towards contributors.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool too.
Yeah, it's funny. We talked about that as a claimable. Give people access to honey at a certain price in the future, but it has no value unless like it actually there. So it's like giving someone like a long-term incentive, I guess, to be active.
Like a vested option, all right, Dash?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
If it's locked for, I don't know, 1 year, it can be bought at a certain price, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
That would make
kind of
sense, I guess. Yeah, for some.
Yeah, I think there's a few things you can do there. We're definitely exploring them. So if you guys want to chat about that, I'm sure we will. Like the ways we could use that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my mind is, working again now on all these different. I'll have to jot a few things
Yeah,
down.
I know.
We'll
I don't
check.
know how you guys do it. I get like fried after talking about this, like it is so heady, a lot of this stuff you can get super into the weeds on, but pull it all back. It's just the way to give DAOs and give y.at specifically a way to be here for the next 3-4 years, right? I think if we're not thinking about these things, then by the time we are, it's too late. But by thinking about like, how do we build the kind of runway or treasury that can fund this or reward contributors, whatever we want to say, for the next 6 months, year, 3 years, like what is our approach going to be? I think that's like the ultimate outcome here. And then everything else is just what makes that happen.
Yeah, very well said.
100%.
That's very well put. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of strategies that we can definitely apply, but the basic ones are pretty cool with the Treasury Pools right now, and yeah, it would be awesome to think about how we can definitely make this sustainable growth happen.
Yeah, let's do it, guys.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Lindsay. I really appreciate you hopping
Thanks,
on here, man. We'll have to touch base on a regular basis. Maybe if you want to do it live like this, that would be awesome. But otherwise,
I will always be your, like on like the Tonight Show. What was his name? That would just like be one of the extra chairs. Had nothing important to contribute 90% of the time, but there, I will always be on your show.
I appreciate
Awesome.
you, man. Well, hey, we're just gonna let that keep building today, regardless. So thanks again, and thanks Dash and Solar and everybody else for joining us either on the Discord or Twitch today. It's been great to see everybody come out.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you to else.
Thank you, guys. Hope you have a nice day. So let's do it. Bye.
Oh yes, I'm pumped. All right.
Cheers, guys. Take care, man.
See you guys.
Cheers.